Hooray for Hoppy by Tim Hopgood. Hoppy woke up bright and early. He wiggled his nose and sniffed the air. Perhaps today's the day, he thought. But as he hopped to the top of his hole, he saw the world was covered in snow. Too cold, he said, and he hopped back to bed. The next morning, when Hoppy hopped to the top of his hole, his nose felt cold and the grass felt crunchy. Too icy, he said, and he hopped back to bed. A few days later, Hoppy woke up much earlier than usual. Perhaps today's the day, he thought. Hoppy twitched his nose. The air smelled fresh. Perhaps today really is the day that spring arrives. So Hoppy hopped down the hill to see if it was true. "Hooray!" said Hoppy as he heard the birds singing. "It sounds like spring has sprung." "Hooray!" said Hoppy as he sniffed the pretty flowers. "It smells like spring has sprung." "Hooray!" said Hoppy as he watched the lambs in the meadow. "It looks like spring has sprung." "Hooray!" said Hoppy as he nibbled the fresh green grass. "It tastes like spring has sprung." "Hip, hip, hooray!" said Hoppy as his feet touched the warm ground. "It even feels like spring has sprung." Today really is the day, thought Hoppy. He couldn't wait to see his friends. But when he reached the top of the hill, nobody was there. So he thumped his back feet as hard and as loud as he possibly could. "Hooray!" shouted all the rabbits as Hoppy leaped high in the air. Spring had definitely and most wonderfully sprung. There are 5 senses that we use to discover the world. 1 is hearing. We listen with our ears. What can you hear? What does Hoppy hear? A bird. Number 2, smell. We smell with our noses. What can you smell? What does Hoppy smell? The flowers. 3, sight. We see with our eyes. What can you see? What does Hoppy see? The lamb. 4, taste. We taste with our tongues. What can you taste? What does Hoppy taste? The grass. 5, touch. We feel with our hands and feet. What can you feel? What does Hoppy feel? The ground. These are our 5 senses, and we use them to discover the world.